What it is, YouTube. You know what it is. It's your boy, Dumb Moose. Alright, check it out. So, hit it.
The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas.
Okay, so as you can see in the description, we are talking about that's what. Yeah, buddy, we're talking about the thunder. Okay, so now let me explain what I mean by the thunder. Okay, so we talked about the other day, I mentioned about the turbine spinning the wheel and making electromagnetic, making an electrical magnetic field to make electricity. What is AC and what is DC? You see this common between when you go pick up an appliance, you'll see AC. Some appliances like record player, old time boom boxes, you'll see the term AC and DC. So what does that really mean? I will explain that to you right now. So the term AC, DC. Okay, so AC means alternating current, and DC means direct current. And here's the differences between the two of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the AC, the alternating current. It says alternating current is an electrical current which periodically reverses direction in contrast to direct current, which flows only in one direction. Alternating current is a form in which electrical power is diverted to businesses and residences. It is also the form of electric energy that consumers typically use when they plug in kitchen appliances, television, fans, lamps, etc. into the wall socket. Common source of DC power is battery cells and a flashlight. The abbreviations AC and DC are often used to mean simply alternating and direct, as when they modify current or voltage. Okay, so that's alternating current. Alternating current, there's a line that goes like this, and it has the wavies basically you'll see that it's pulsating the alternating. It goes beyond the spectrum. So what happens is it goes around. It doesn't stay still. And what it means by that, it doesn't go straight to your device. It might bounce off your device and come back. So So when you turn off your system, it's still there, but in the background it's working. If you have, let's say, if you have a computer or something, and it's on it's plugged in. So what happens is, when you plug in AC units or any kind of unit that's plugged into the wall, you still have the power source going to your stuff. No matter if you turn it off. You can turn it off all day. But the minute you go to the wall and you unplug it and pull it out of the wall, then and only then do not have the current going to your device. So if you ever get your electric bill and you see, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? Why is my electric bill so high? If you pull out different plug-ins of like your toasters eat up a lot. Dryers, they eat up a lot. Stoves, they eat up a lot. Refrigerators, they're common. They don't eat that much. The differences between the two of those is one happens to be 240 and one happens to be 120, and that will be in the next episode. The differences between 240 and 120. But right now, we're just going to get back down to this. Okay, so now that we know about AC, let's talk about DC. DC has a lot of differences. There's a lot of differences between DC. Okay, so and it says that DC direct current is one directional or unidirectional flow electrical charge. An electrical chemical cell is primary example of DC power. Direct current may flow through a conductor such as a wire, but it also may flow through semiconductors, insulators, or even through a vacuum as an electron or ion beams. They don't have them now, but back in the 70s and the 60s, they had what they call tubes, and the tubes were basically that vacuum. What it was the picture tube is weird because it actually was a tube. And when they say picture tube, they meant tube. It was a tube. It was about this big, and it was vacuum sealed. It had 4 or 5 different prongs on the bottom of it. And inside, there was this thing that went up. It was like a light bulb. You see light bulbs today. Well, there's a little thing in there. And if you notice, it wasn't full. It wasn't full contact. But when you plugged it in, and you plugged it into the wall, TVs were big time power eaters because of the cells that they had in them. And what happened was that electricity would jump. You could actually see it jump if you plugged it in. It would jump from one side of the tube to the other inside, and it would create a warm balance like a light bulb. And that's what the term picture tube came from. And it's kind of neat how at first they started out with this technology, and it ended up being better than what it is now. Then, actually. And guess what? The TVs weren't remote control. I was the remote control. Just kidding. That's just a thing. Okay, so the list of battery sizes now. We're going to go through the battery sizes. I think that the battery types are... okay, so here's a list of battery types. And we're going to go through them so you kind of get an idea. Okay, so the first battery type is the primary cell or non-rechargeable battery, the alkaline battery. It's zinc, magnesium oxide carbon. It's an aluminum air battery. That's one of them that falls in this atomic batteries, which is basically, as it means, atomic, meaning the batteries that they use in the cooling towers. Okay, you see them. This is radioactive, is what they're talking about. It's how they make nuclear energy, is basically what that means. When I say that atom battery, that's what that is. It's nuclear energy. That's how nuclear energy is made, is with batteries. The nuclear battery, I just explained that. The nuclear micro battery is the same category. Then there's the dry cell. I mean, this goes on and on and on and on and on about that. And then it's the secondary cells, the rechargeable batteries. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and do this. I didn't want to go to that page. So let's go ahead and talk about this. This article lists sizes, shapes, general characteristics of some common primary, secondary batteries, types, and households. The long history of dry cell batteries, he gives that. Okay. Let's go with the standardization. See, this goes on. So you go to there's the cylindrical battery. Okay, these are rounded batteries with the height longer than their diameter, in zinc carbide or alkaline types. They produce 1.5 per cell when fresh. Other types produce other voltages per package as low as 1.2 volts for rechargeable, and nickel 12 volts. Okay. So that tells you that, right? Okay. Oh man, what did I do? I pushed too far. Okay, so then we had sent the rectangle. The rectangle battery is the 9-volt battery. They have a bigger one, which is a 6-volt, and I'm sure you're familiar with those. They are about this big and about that fat. They're 6-volt. They fit in your older lamps. The lantern big. Then they have the J. The J was made for back when I was, I think, 80s. I think J started back then because I remember at the first time we got our first remote, and you had to buy the battery. Literally, the battery would last forever almost. You would still have to replace it. And at the time where I was living, back in 1980, take you back then, they came out with what they call cable TV. And cable TV was because of the birth of cable, pretty much. MTV started at 12:01 a.m. and they've been playing ever since. MTV was probably one of the first channels besides the local channels that made it on cable. So you ever hear I want my MTV. That's right there. That's that song. Anyway, so the MTV came up with cable. So, and that's where J battery came from. Alright, so now we got to we're to J batteries. Okay, so let's go back to the list of batteries and then we will get on to it. So rectangular equals J battery and all that good stuff. Now let's get on to the buttons. The buttons are very important to listen to this tip. The button, I have one actually, I can show you. Where did it out here? They're buttons. They look like these. These are energizers. I use energizer in my equipment, unless it's chargeable, and then I try to get rechargeable batteries, but I've run out, so I had to get more. I ordered more batteries. I had a bunch of them and they all died. And I had to throw them away because they're not being used. Okay, so as you can see, the sub battery, and they're used in everything. This is my camera remote. It has it has one of the batteries. Then I have one of these, a light show, and I have another light show battery. And then your remotes for your car batteries, they come in them, and they come in hearing aid batteries. They come in really small. They come in really big. The big ones are these remotes right here. So that's the cylinder, and then they're all lithium cells. So there are all kinds of numbers of them. And then we have the lithium rechargeable. Now, the lithium batteries are pretty cool because they're rechargeable. You can recharge them over and over. And I have rechargeable batteries in all my equipment. I do recommend getting an Energizer. Don't go get cheap generic ones. I got my buddy ones or whatever they are garbage. Mr. Battery, no, they're called Mr. Battery. I got rid of them. They're garbage. Don't get them. I'm going to leave a poor review on them because they sucked. They all died on me and I had to throw them away. Don't get the Rayovac either. Get the original Energizer battery rechargeables. They work really good. That is a recommended thing to get. I get them because it's cheaper than every time I do a wedding, have to replace my batteries and obsolete batteries. So you kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about. And then you have the battery that sits in your car. Then you have batteries that go to truck engines. Then you have batteries, oh my god, then you have diesel batteries, which go into diesel locomotives, which is half the locomotive. So, you know, it just, the list goes on and on and on lithium ion or icon or econ batteries. So I hope the differences between the two the alternating and the direct. Direct means to the same point or from one power point, and it's right there at that time, right to your equipment. That's why it's considered direct. The alternating current, it's alternately coming from somewhere else, and that's why it's like that. But you could take an AC unit and you can unplug it. You can turn it off, like I said earlier. You can turn it off and it'll still be going. DC, once you turn that battery, once you hit the off button to your radio, it's off. Your batteries are not getting eaten. Now, it's highly recommended. Highly recommended. Once you use a battery device, take the batteries out and put them back in when needed. Do not leave your batteries in there. If not, your batteries will find what they call the acid basically the acid starts coming through the wire, because you're still there and they're together, and together they're rubbing against each other, making heat, and the cell explodes, and that's the difference. Okay, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I know that you want to hit the bell, more notifications on videos like this, and hit the like button if you like what you hear, and if you don't like what you hear, go hit the dislike button. If you've hit the dislike button, please tell me why you don't like what you hear. Alright, and then be strong alone. Be strong enough to stand alone, smart enough to know when you need help, and brave enough to ask for it. I'm going to leave that, especially for men. Peace.